I'm Charlie Denard, and I'm with Dan Smith from Washington, D.C. And of course, Dan found out about our doctors here through our website, CostaRicaHospital.com. Dan, listen, you've had an amazing transformation over the last 2 weeks, and we wanted to talk to you about the facelift that you had done with Dr. Oscar Suarez at SEMA Hospital here in Escazú, Costa Rica. What led you to want to do a facelift to begin with?
Well, at 64 years old, I decided that it was time to make some sort of change in my life. And
you don't look 64 years old anymore.
Thank you. But that was Dr. Suarez's fault. But I'd investigated it about 6 years ago and just put it off. And then finally, when I started with dental work here, I decided to go the further step and to see exactly what it would take and what would be done.
Right. Did you have any kind of immediate concerns about coming to another country to have major surgical procedures done like that? Do you have any?
Well, I think that any time you go to a doctor that you do not know, you always have these concerns. But I looked up Dr. Suarez's credentials and I searched the internet, and I felt very confident by the time that I got here that I made the right choice. There's also videos of conversations with Dr. Suarez, which were very helpful.
And your job is a software computer. I'm sorry, not a
computer programmer.
Computer programmer. So accessing information over the internet is something that you're probably very thorough about.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at that. I can do internet searches.
So you nailed down to your satisfaction Dr. Suarez's qualities and capabilities.
Right. I did investigate to see if I would be confident in his ability.
And when you did your research, how much would a facelift have cost you in the States?
Well, this particular procedures I'd investigated about 6 years ago, and it was going to run about $25,000.
And so, and you found out in Costa Rica with Dr. Suarez, what was the cost involved with that?
Well, he estimated that it would cost me about $8,800 in that range, and including the hospital.
So the surgery and the hospital together, the hospital stay was $8,000.
Right. So that would be the operating room plus the overnight stay plus the surgeon's fee was going to be in that range.
So your investigation of a cost of a facelift 6 years ago was $25,000.
Yep.
I would think it would have gotten a bit more expensive since then. And now here in Costa Rica with Dr. Oscar Suarez, it was $8,000, including the hospital stay. So that's only about 30%.
Yep.
Or maybe less compared to what the prices would be today.
Yep.
Now, when you went to, what did you find out when you went to Dr. Suarez's office to meet him and Dr. Solano at the SEMA? What was your impression of the facilities and of his office and of just his professional courtesy and how he conducted himself?
Well, everybody was extremely friendly when I arrived.
Speak English there?
Speaking English, and having you as my guide was invaluable. Meeting Dr. Suarez, he's very personable, he's very knowledgeable, and he made me feel comfortable immediately.
Mm-hmm. And so when you sat down there and explained to him what you wanted to have done, did you feel like he asked you the appropriate questions, that he really understood exactly what you wanted to accomplish with this facelift?
Yes, he asked me what items I was particularly concerned with. He explained to me what we could and could not do. There are certain limitations, and he just guided me right through the process until we were both on the same page.
So you had a couple of days after those initial meetings with Dr. Suarez, then you went to SEMA Hospital where you did your intake, and then you were prepped for surgery. Tell me about that experience of being prepped for surgery and what you remember of the surgical procedure, and then when you came out of the anesthesia.
Once I got admitted into the hospital and I was waiting in the prep room, there was a slight delay. And during that time period, I just more or less tried to convince myself that everything would turn out well. We had a small delay between the time that I was supposed to start surgery, and by the time I got into the surgery room, the anesthetist turned to me and said, I'm going to give you this pill, in about a minute and a half you're going to feel groggy. It's the last thing I remember. The next thing I remember is waking up very, very hungry in the hospital, in my hospital room.
And was Dr. Solano there with you when you woke up, or who was with you when you came out of anesthesia?
Oh, I was in the hospital by myself with the hospital staff.
Right. And so how much time did you spend in recovery before you were discharged?
I was out by 11:30 the next morning.
The next morning. And how was your experience with the staff at the hospital in your overnight stay?
The staff was very, very efficient, and they made me feel as comfortable as possible and managed to feed me, and so.
Well, I have to ask you the critical question, because everybody wants to know, how was the hospital food?
Oh, I found the hospital food amazing because I was starving to death.
Yeah.
But no, it was good. I was impressed, and the room I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
It was one of the best hospital rooms I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's great.
As far as design.
So you leave the hospital, you just had a facelift done, you look at the mirror, what did you see?
When I looked in the mirror at the hospital,
The first time after the
something
surgery?
very strange was
Yeah.
looking back.
Yeah.
It was all swollen. I at first did not think that I could see, and I was groping around for food, but then discovered that my my procedure did not. I did not have as much swelling as one would expect.
Right. Yeah, I remember seeing you, and you looked like you went in a 64-year-old man, and you came out like a gunslinger. You looked like you were ready for battle when you came out.
It's still in the process. We have to see how it turns
Yeah.
out finally.
So let me ask you this question, just generally speaking, honestly, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being expectations met and exceeded, and 1 being absolutely disappointed and disheartened, where would you be on that scale of 1 to 10?
Obviously a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you look in the mirror now, do you feel not only that you saved a lot of money, which is nice, but the fact that you got the quality surgical procedures done for you in a way that you can not only feel happy about the cost, but proud of the way the results are, proud of the results that you received?
I'm over excited about this issue. I mean, I was concerned that things would not turn out, that something would go wrong. Everything has clicked in. I think that, as a matter of fact, I think maybe it's turned out too well.
No, that's interesting. And what does that mean?
Well, because I'm going to go back home to an environment that is going to be new to me because I will be a new person.
Yeah. So you think you'll get noticed by your coworkers when you walk in the office on Monday?
It's going to be a big topic of conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you think at the end of the day that they'll really be impressed by the change in your life?
Well, I would imagine maybe many of them will be down here in
Yeah.
a short period of time.
Yeah, I'm sure that they will be. So Dan, for anybody in Washington, D.C. considering having cosmetic surgery done, what would your advice be to them?
Well, I would recommend that they make sure that they get part of a package. For example, my biggest advantage here was I had someone to pick me up. I had someone to help me with my appointments. I had someone who trusted the doctors, who literally...
Was that anybody that you knew?
Yes, you,
Oh,
for
okay,
matter of
good.
fact,
Okay.
yes. But starting with the website and working all the way down, they need to be confident about the destination and the results that will
Right.
get there. The doctors I found were amazing. The whole procedure, it was a little compact package that I just fit into, and I went along with that package. I would say don't be as uncertain about making the decision. Just go ahead and do it because it's a very well invested money.
Well, Dan, thanks for taking some time to tell us about your experience with Dr. Oscar Suarez at SEMA and getting the new facelift. And you look great. I want to wish you a safe trip back to Washington, D.C. And thank you for all the people on CostaRicaHospital.com that will benefit from your experience.
Okay, I hope it helps.
Take care.